unbelievable stuff, boys. Not too sure how you pulled that off, but 3-1 over Chelsea. Now, got Man City in the semis, and honestly, they've been worse than Chelsea over the last couple of years. They've won a couple of Champions Leagues, but in England, Chelsea have been better, okay? So just do whatever you did last time, and let's try and make a Club World Cup final.
Party in the streets and the city's on fire.
Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 177 of the New Zealand Builder Nation here on Shaun Does FM with Kashmir Technical. I hope you're doing well, and come up day we continue at the FIFA Club World Cup. We've got the semi-finals and we take on Manchester City off the back of somehow making our way past Chelsea in yesterday's quarter-final. So if you missed that one, I'll leave a link to it over in the top right corner. Also included a bus trip, and we've got another one today. This time it's in Istanbul, so hopefully that'll be a good fun one before we get into this game. Where, to be fair, we take on a Manchester City team who, based on what we checked out yesterday, aren't quite as good as Chelsea, because of course those guys have won the Premier League 7 of the last 9 years, but still, it's a 5-time Champions League winner. They've won the Premier League 14 times, but the last time was all the way back in 2034, so it has been a little while back now in the save since they have tasted success, at least in terms of the Premier League. They did win the Champions League though back in 2038 as well as 2035, so still a very tough team we're going to take on here in the semi-final at the Club World Cup. Definitely again going to this one as outsiders. They've still got Pep Guardiola in charge these days. Their key player is Ibon Larrazabal out of Spain. No surprise there. With Pep still in charge, 29 years old, he's a right back who can also do a bit of a job there centrally, and probably does, considering he's 1.96 metres tall, but he looks ridiculously good for a player who probably does most of his work as a defender. Came through Real Sociedad and has now spent nearly 10 years at Manchester City. Also got over 100 caps for the Spanish national team. So that guy's definitely someone we need to worry about in this upcoming game. And unlike the key player from Chelsea today in Evan Morales, he's not partially injured. So these guys actually might be just a little bit tougher. But to be fair, this is going to be a bit of an uphill struggle. But as I said, if we can beat Chelsea, I think we've got a chance here. So a quick reminder about that whole Premier League situation. They're all the past winners. City came close last year and did actually finish above Chelsea. But before that, it was complete Chelsea dominance, going all the way back to the last time that City did win a Premier League title. So hopefully we can somehow find a way here to get past these guys and actually make our way into the final of this competition. To be fair, from this point forward, we're in for a big payday anyway, because even if we lose, we can come back tomorrow and do the 3rd and 4th place playoff, and even then, we should still get a decent chunk of money. But first up, the other semi-final, it has been played. If we can get past Man City, I think our task might actually be easier in the final. We'd take on RB Leipzig, who continue to somewhat surprise in this tournament. They beat Flamengo 2-1, so that was the team, of course, we were trying to avoid by topping our group. It worked, and we might end up playing them in the final if we beat Man City, but that is a big if. Otherwise, we'd take on Flamengo in a 3rd and 4th place playoff. But here are the rules. There you can see the prize money for 3rd and 4th. The loser gets £1.6 million, the winner gets £2 million. If we make the final and we somehow win it, we get $4 million. If we lose, we get pretty much $3 million. Either way, now that we've made the final four, and for a big payday. But going to this game, a player has come back from injury for us. That is Diego Mazzi. So thankfully it does mean not quite so weak in terms of right-wing options. Also means that Andrew Thomas now can be the out-and-out backup to Greg Johnston, while Prince Kamalo nearly comes back from injury. Might be available for tomorrow's episode, which might be good because Johnston does need a rest. But Mazzi's back from that injury he picked up early in this tournament, so he's available, albeit will be a bench option in behind Wiley Khaled. Unfortunately though, we have actually lost a couple of players off the back of yesterday's episode because some transfers went through, and of course those were done a long time ago because they were here on a non-contract. So just off the back of that game where we beat Chelsea, Fernando Alfonso of course scored a big goal to put that one to bed at 3-0 at the stage. He's gone to San Martin, so no longer here. Only made 2 National League appearances for the club, is now worth $5 million. That's a bit filthy. Hopefully our rep goes up soon. A bit surprised it hasn't already, having made our way through to the semis of a Club World Cup. A quick update on that. Somehow, that's not gone up. I did think it went up earlier, but for some reason, now it's gone back down. So I'm not too sure what's going on there with our reputation. You'd think beating teams like Chelsea and Juventus would help that, but apparently not. Maybe need to win a trophy before that is the case. But unfortunately, we've lost Alfonso as well as our backup left back in Rodrigo Serra. Missing a couple of players who are registered for this competition. Neither of them were at the club for too long, but it does mean, at least in terms of left back, actually quite a bit weaker than we were before. So these days, I think that we've got Andy Roberts and Harrison Debenham who can cover left back in behind Sousa in the first team, but just those injuries that are still being carried by Jamie Young and Prince Kamalo that we are dealing with. So that means that Johnston and Brown, they'll keep their spot in the first team. But before we get stuck into this clash against Man City and hopefully make our way through to a final, and maybe that might boost up our reputation of the club just a little bit more. As I said, we have moved to Istanbul for this game. It's the famous stadium, of course, where Liverpool did come back from the dead and beat AC Milan back in 2005. So while we're here, it's time to do a bus trip. And of course we start off our bus trip by finding a nice fancy hotel here that FIFA can pay for, and this one does look very, very suitable for the bill. Thank you very much, FIFA. You can pay for all our guys' rooms here at the Hilton Mall of Istanbul. So it is kind of a mall, so it should keep the guys busy during the days when they need to go grab their coffee, their shopping, all that sort of stuff. They should be pretty well sorted. You can see there some of the stores that are inside the mall. It looks pretty nice. There's even an amusement park inside of the mall as well as one of those other big chef places that we drove past yesterday. But we are staying at the Hilton. They've got lovely swimming pools, lovely guest beds. It does look quite nice, very expensive, but a 5-star hotel. Thank you very much, FIFA. Here's the actual view of the website itself, which, to be fair, the pictures at the moment don't look quite as good, but hopefully if we shift on, they'll look a bit better. There's a lovely view there of the skylines at night time over in Istanbul. That's a very nice suite there that I think the manager should be staying in. And going down a bit further, there's that view again of that nice indoor pool that the boys will no doubt love. That might even be a bit of a massage room / spa there that the boys can make the most of as well. There's potentially a sauna or a very, very fancy toilet / bathroom. Not too sure what's going on there, but it does look very nice, as you'd expect from a Hilton. And in terms of the actual bus trip to the ground, it's not the longest one, but a little bit longer than what we did yesterday. It's about 7.5 kilometers, about 9 minutes long. To be fair, most of it though, once you go around the mall, is on a motorway. So not too sure how much interesting is going to pop up there, but then we start to cut and land a little bit, see a bit of green grass, and make our way up towards the stadium. So hopefully this works out well and we can do a decent bus trip over here in Istanbul. Might need to zoom in here so I can actually get on the part here that I want to click on. Let's just hope that this works.
A few moments later.
And thankfully I've eventually sorted it out. Didn't have my little man click there on Google Maps. Here we are right outside of our hotel. As you can see, it looks very fancy-pantsy. They really should have a New Zealand flag there just to rub it in that we're still here at the Club World Cup. A big little skyscraper hotel there. I say little, just massive big. But here we go. Let's make our way here around the hotel and get onto this motorway. But obviously that's going to be a really useful place for us to stay with lots of stuff inside it, being a mall. So that's quite a good spot for us there over in Istanbul. Hopefully we can pull off another miracle just like Liverpool did back in 2005. Sorry AC Milan fans, but I am a Liverpool fan. You're going to hear a lot about that during this day and this bus trip. Let's just make our way here around the outside of the mall. To be fair, does look like it's a pretty big old outfit. And now we take that little turn off to make our way onto the motorway to get towards the stadium. So let's see if anything interesting pops up here. Now it looks like we're kind of in the middle of a concrete jungle, and going forward a few clicks, thankfully actually gone the right way here because I wasn't too sure what was going on there with a couple of different directions we could have gone there around the mall. But we're going to make our way here upwards, just stay a little bit to the left. Lots of city views there we can see of Istanbul, or maybe one of the places nearby. But there you can see a few places inside of that mall that we are staying at. It will be a pretty good spot, as I said, for our guys here around this game that we are playing, as this arrow gets ridiculously big here on Google Maps. We are making our way around this little wall here and should shortly actually get on the proper motorway to take us pretty close to the stadium, or at least it's probably going to be a bit more interesting on this bus trip, albeit actually there's a bit more to see than I thought there'd be on this motorway. So we'll just make our way here, hopefully past this truck, albeit it could be like yesterday where that truck does kind of block our view like the minibus did, and unfortunately looks like that might be the case. But there you can see some stuff there over on the other side of the road. So to be fair, we probably wanted to be on that side instead of this side. If only it was New Zealand rules, that might be a bit easier for us to find some interesting things. We're going to drive down this motorway for a little while. There's a nice bridge there in the distance, so that's something, but I think we're just going to stop in if something interesting pops up before we make our way a bit more inland to the stadium. And not so fast, because it actually looks like here we want to go inland just a little bit, because you can see the Olympia Parki Ataturk. I think that's where we're actually going to the stadium. So we want to go back this way, so I'm not too sure if we actually could have saved some time maybe going in a different direction, try and get on the motorway that way, but we're still going past here, the mall that we were staying at. There's another entrance. We haven't actually done too much so far on this bus trip, which is a bit interesting. The roads here in Turkey might be a bit complicated, but now we go inland just a little bit. And now this motorway does look a bit more boring, but we're starting to get our way inland now, and hopefully soon get a bit of a view of that stadium. And we've made our way towards the end of the motorway part of this bus trip. You can kind of see there where we're coming from. You can actually see most of that stuff there on the right hand side, because there are actually some hills in the way, which was a bit surprising, but starting to make our way out of those slight rolling hills. And shortly we take a little bit here of a right hand turn, I believe, and that will take us towards the stadium where we're going to play this game indeed. There's the sign for the Olympic Park / stadium. So let's start to make our way here a bit more inland. You can kind of see what I've been looking at for the last 5 or so minutes of this bus trip. Lots of green trees and grass on the side of the road, but let's just see what pops up here once we make our way over this hill and start to straighten up a little bit more. It's taken a little while here. Google Maps a bit slow here on this part of the bus trip. Still trying to make our way up this little bit of an incline. Almost feels like me here going on a treadmill in real life, but eventually we'll get there and the incline can slow down and we can actually do a bit less work, which is always a nice idea. So let's just try and chug along here a bit more, but so far not much has changed going inland closer to the stadium. And we've gone the road a bit more and we can start to see where the stadium is actually going to be. There it is right there on the left hand side, but for some reason we can't just drive in there. We've got to go a very long way round, but to be fair, I think if we really wanted to, we could just go through there. Can we somehow, is there a gate there or something that we can just barge through? Apparently not, but you'd like to think that we could get in there if we needed to, but apparently Google Maps is saying we have to go all the way around, but there's a good view there of the outside of the stadium here in Istanbul that we're about to play at. To be fair, that is a gigantic car park. So no issues about car parking here for this game. Let's just make our way here around the outside of the stadium where Google Maps is telling us to go. And as you can see, we're actually getting a decent view of the outside of the stadium from this bus trip, because here's what it looks like from a bit of a different angle, a little bit different there from what it did look like further down the road. But coming up shortly, you have to take here a little bit of a funny left-hand turn. So hopefully this will work, otherwise that'll be awkward, all that driving for no real reason. But we need to go up here and then take a very, very sharp left-hand turn. Just going to try and figure out here exactly where that is. And it looks like we actually just cross over in there, and we want to follow, I think, where that bus is right there. And there it is. Let's follow the bus. That works out quite well on a bus trip, and indeed we've done the right thing there. So thankfully, I think I'm getting better at these bus trips the more I do them here in the save. If you want these to continue next year, let me know, because I think we're going to do a genuine save. I think it's pretty clearly winning the vote so far on the community poll over on the YouTube channel. So I think it does look like next year we're going to be doing a bit of a journeyman, trying to win as many continental trophies as we can, both in men's and women's football. So if you want stuff like this, and also probably house hunting to return, let me know down in those comments. But you can see now we're going up here to the main driveway into the stadium. So to be fair, this does look a bit more suitable than what I was planning earlier, just crossing the road and going through a gate, which I'm not too sure if it would have opened or not. But this definitely is a gigantic car park for this Olympic Stadium here in Turkey. It's actually quite well set up, so if you play to Turkey for that, it might be interesting after the game if it was a local derby or something, because we know how Turkish fans get on of late. That might be a bit interesting, but I'm pretty sure this is about as far as we can go here on this bus trip. In fact, I lie. It continues, so we're actually getting a good little view here of the outside of the stadium. Probably don't need to bring up this shot that I found on Google Maps, because to be fair, we're just driving past that, but there's what the car park does look like when it is full. But we'll just keep going here and see how close we can get to where we're actually supposed to be going on this bus trip. I think now we want to go that way but we can't. So I think that might be the player entrance there to the stadium itself, but still getting a pretty good view here of the outside of this Olympic Stadium over in Istanbul. You can see it from that side, but to be fair, I think that might be back when there was a bit of work being done on it in 2014, but still nice little drive-by here around the outside of the stadium. But I think we've seen about enough of it from the outside. Let's now try and get a view from the inside, albeit I say that there was no Google 360 view, so this is the best that we can do. Sorry AC Milan fans, but it's the best photo that popped up. It's back before that Liverpool Champions League final in 2005. As you can see, it's a huge stadium. Hopefully, the Kashmir Tech fans over in Turkey can create an atmosphere like that, because we all know Man City definitely won't be with 0 fans, but that's what it looks like there inside of the stadium in Istanbul. I think that's what it looks like when it's not quite so packed in terms of a Champions League game, and that photo might be a bit more recent as well, but obviously it's in quite good nick. The pitch again, there's a running track around the outside, which I don't really like, but still it's a pretty good looking stadium and lots of car parking, which is a big plus, and hopefully our fans will show up. They should definitely outnumber the Man City ones if we can somehow beat them and make our way through to the Club World Cup final. And here are the team sheets for the semi-final of 2041 FIFA Club World Cup. They are Man City, and they are going with a 4-3-3. Interesting that their form only shows 1 win, because we've got a lot more popping up in our form. Just 1 change from the team that beat Chelsea. It is enforced through suspension. Vinicius comes in for Corona, of course, picked up a late yellow in that win, so it means he's suspended for this game, but we'll be back in time for the 3rd, 4th playoff or the final, depending on how this one gets on. But unfortunately, might not be a good start. Inside a minute, there's a throw in there for Man City. It's inside our half. Walker, don't think it's that one. He should be retired by now, but Sousa there wins the ball off him briefly. They get it back City, and we have a chance here to try and make our way out from the back. Sousa is back on the ball, but that's an awful pass. Bit of an average start from him, and City back on the attack. Walker will put that one away. It's Andy Walker, so definitely not Kyle, but either way, that's not a great start from us there. Sousa nearly won that ball back for us. He got it back eventually, but this pass in field was a dreadful idea. Really should have just looked there for that man inside him who tried to cover the other pass that did find Walker, but he puts it away just inside that left-hand post. It's an awful start. 1 minute gone, and we're 1-0 down.
Ew.
And it only gets worse. 10 minutes later, we've lost probably our best player here at the club. David Cifuentes is going to be forced from the field with a red injury. So Shaun Hall's on the bench for this one. He can come on, our young under-20 goalkeeper who got for a youth intake a couple of years ago in this save. But that's a big loss. David Cifuentes probably going to be quite busy in a game like this. And indeed, that might be the case now for Shaun Hall only a few minutes later instead of a throw inside the final third. Good chance there for them, but a decent save there from Hall. In fact, Anderson, it looks like, might have blocked that shot according to the commentary, but City all over us, as you probably expect. But still, after beating Chelsea, this would be a little bit frustrating. Thankfully, we defend that okay. 20 minutes in, we're 1-0 down, but we've also lost our first choice goalkeeper. And we go up to the half-hour mark here, and City are back on the ball, but good tracking back there from Jonas Otto to get us back on that ball. As I've said a few times during this tournament, definitely been our player of it so far. Hopefully, can just do things smart here and make our way out from the back, but they're putting good pressure on us here, City. But eventually we find Clark, and now Brandon Otto actually gets in behind here somewhat. Can he find someone inside the box? Yes, he can. Craig Johnston will pop up with a goal. He's been a bit streaky so far at Kashmir Tech, especially since Prince Kamalos got injured in the first game of this tournament. But that's some great work. Otto got that ball back for us, and then Finn Brown finds him down this left-hand side, and Otto is proving to be a really good player here at this Club World Cup. It's a top finish that from Johnston with his left foot into that top right corner, all square with 15 minutes left in the first half. And it looks like that'll do it for the first half of this game. City were all over us there in the first half hour, but thankfully Craig Johnston got us level just after that off the back of some nice work there from Jonas Otto as per usual down our left-hand side. To be fair, most players out there are doing a decent job. Walid Khalid a little bit tired on a 6.5, but he's one of our best players as well. We'll give him some time to turn that around in the second half. Stats-wise, actually, we've got off more shots. Just 1 less on targets. This game actually is a bit more even than I thought it was going to be early stages when City did grab that opening goal. But hopefully we find a way to get in front in the second half and make that Club World Cup final. And we've got 10 minutes into the second half. Unfortunately, Walid Khalid hasn't improved too much off the back of halftime, has now gone down to a 6.4. So coming back from injury, Diego Marzi can make his way onto the field with 35 minutes left, still 1-1. And going forward nearly 10 minutes from that previous stoppage, now it's time for us here to do another one because some players have dropped down to 6.4. It's actually our last one too because of course lost one earlier with that injury to Cifuentes. Roberts can come on for Sousa on a 6.4. Also take off Brown on a 6.4. Now of course though, we are quite weak at left wing. I think I said right wing before the game when we lost Alfonso. It's in fact left wing. So Brandon De Beer, who covered central attacking midfield last game, that might not be the best option. So maybe we bring on Andrew Thomas instead, almost to play as a little bit of a shadow striker, even though we probably won't use that role. So De Beer can come on for Jonas Otto, who unfortunately has dropped down to a red hat. But those will be all our subs used with about a half hour left. Still locked up at 1-1 though. And nearly made our way into the last 15 minutes of this game. There's a highlight here to Man City, the first one in a little while. And unfortunately, they are on the attack. You might notice there that Brandon De Beer has picked up an orange injury very early, but of course no stoppages left, and also no left wing cover left as well. But thankfully, win that ball back, and actually quite a nice pass there from De Beer. And also Thomas, he'll find Johnston, who'll put that one away. Craig Johnston, he loves a big game here at Kashmir Tech, and maybe we've got a sneaky chance of winning the Club World Cup with Kashmir Tech. What on earth is happening? We beat Chelsea, to be fair. It probably was quite a good win to suggest that we could do this, but Man City, in reality, they're doing a lot better than Chelsea in real life. But Johnston, that's a lovely ball there from Andrew Thomas. He'll grab the assist. He puts it away, but not so fast. Only a few minutes later, a thrown inside the final third here for City. They put that one far post, and unfortunately, Alderton squares that one, and Mbassa will put it away. And not so fast, this one ain't over yet. It's 2-2 with 10 minutes left. A good little routine here from the Sky Blues inside of the final third. Sims puts that one far post, and Alderton will square that one. To be fair, Hall probably could have tried to punch that one clear. Maybe having Cifuentes in goal might have helped us in that situation, but unfortunately not in front for long. It's now 2-2, but stats-wise, it's still a very even game. City, though, are getting a lot more shots on target than we are. Hopefully that won't bite us late in this game, and we make our way into 5 minutes at a time. A free kick, really poorly taken, and City are now on the ball. Evans gets it back up to Levent, and it goes back to Ramsey in goal. Also not that one, definitely in the new gen phase of the safe. City, they get in behind them. Mbassa will put it away yet again, but thankfully the assistant referee has put his flag up, so hopefully this one gets ruled out for offside. Otherwise, we're in all sorts of trouble. Thankfully, that goal indeed, it has been disallowed. So thankfully our defence there doing a decent job. Alderton just a touch too late there with that pass, that run a little bit early, and Hosafa thankfully catches him a step in front. But that will do it for regular time. 2-2. City have just been slightly on the front foot thanks to having more shots on target. But we're doing quite well thanks to Craig Johnston. His clinical finishing is keeping us in this game. Now, a couple of players out there on red hearts who we could take off. Also De Beer, but as I said, no real left wing cover, so don't think we can do too much there. I think the smart option might be here to bring on someone like Debenham at right back instead of a tired Rivera. So I dare say that's what I'm going to do here going into this extra time period with our final sub. It does seem like the smart idea, try and scrap that defence to at least take this one into a penalty shootout where maybe we can do something similar to what we did against the Mamelodi Sundowns, but pretty happy to take this one into extra time considering City are getting quite a few shots on target. Thankfully, Johnston is keeping us in this one 2-2 as we're about to kick off extra time. And we don't have to wait too long here for the first highlight of extra time. I'm going to try and make our way here out from back. A short pass there from Horvath Osafa. That's an awful one, and Johnston gets that ball back there for City. I say Johnson. That's going to get confusing, but they get him behind there through Sarjevic, but thankfully a defender gets in the way. That's a pretty easy save for Hall, but that was some pretty average work trying to make our way out from the back. And this highlight looks incredibly similar, but thankfully that time Hosafa goes over the top to find Thomas, and now Marzi will pump that one deep, but there Johnston was a mile offside. Not good work there from our sub on our right wing, and City get a chance here to make their way out from the back, and they do it a lot more comfortably than we did. Even though we are playing a gegenpress, they do this quite easily, and they find Johnson on that left-hand side, squares that one nicely for Amblaza, but thankfully, good block in there from one of our defenders. It might be a chance for us here to do something on the counter-attack, but unfortunately, Debenham can't find anyone as we get deep here into this first half of extra time, and indeed that will do it for the first half. City now well and truly on the front foot, but it's still locked up at 2-2. And very quickly into the second half of extra time, there's a highlight here in City on the attack. A nice ball out there to Johnson down that left-hand side, but good footing there from Debenham. Unfortunately, can't quite keep that ball. Cresta tries to curve that one into the top right corner. It comes off the inside of the post, but thankfully doesn't quite find its way into the back of the net. Now we are down the other end here for a throw, and we're not going to take off to be a game. That would be stupid, but we've got the ball here in a dangerous area. Debenham back to Marzi. He'll find Johnston, who puts it away for a hat-trick. The referee has not put his flag up, so I think this one is going to count, and maybe we're going to escape here and make our way through to a Club World Cup final. Indeed, he's onside. Craig Johnston is carrying us here in this game. Is going to be absolutely knackered for the final, but hopefully Kamalo might be back for that one. But Debenham to Marzi, our replacement's doing a good job there, and Johnston gets in front of the defence. Ramsey doesn't read it and puts it away in the bottom right corner. Now it's time for us here to pull back a little bit. I think we'll put Debenham onto support and also start to time waste just a little bit here with still 10 minutes left of extra time, but that could be a big goal. At the very least, it should make sure this one goes to penalties. We'll also slow the pace down with our goalkeeper as well. Hopefully that will help Shaun Hall just make some smart decisions, and our defenders can help him out a bit more than earlier in extra time. But I'm pretty sure that we're quite happy with how things are looking here with our tactic going into the late stages of this game. This is actually doing a really good job, this tactic. Still got those Indonesian ones loaded up and behind it, but so far haven't had to use it. And for only 5 minutes left now, it's time for us to time waste frequently. And I think we're good. We'll leave those players on attack for now on our left-hand side up front and also in central attacking midfield. But we're somehow going to win this game at the moment, even though City have a 3.18 XG. And Craig Johnston has carried us there to a Club World Cup final against RB Leipzig, which will be coming up in tomorrow's episode. We're trying to avoid them from our group, but in the end, we're going to have to play them to win this competition. But we've got past Chelsea, we've got past Man City. Who's to say we can't get past RB Leipzig off the back of that 3-2 win in extra time in that Club World Cup semi-final? So another huge upset for us there with Kashmir technically at this Club World Cup. We get past Man City there in extra time, largely thanks to Craig Johnston picking up a hat-trick. He has been absolutely massive for us at times in the save. Helped us win a Chatham Cup a couple of years ago when we had to rotate our team quite heavily against Auckland City, to be fair these days. That's not saying a heck of a lot, but that is a huge performance there from the 4-cap All White. Been a long time since he's actually been called up to the All Whites, but maybe we should try and get him on a proper contract here, because that was massive. A hat-trick against Man City, and he pretty much carries us through to the Club World Cup final, where of course we're going to take on RB Leipzig in tomorrow's episode. Now before that, we've got an injury check. You can see up there, we're going to play Leipzig in that one. It's back at one of the grounds we played at earlier. It's actually a fake stadium, so no need to do a bus trip for that one tomorrow. But either way, big payday now for the club. But now, injury check. De Beer hopefully won't be too bad. It was just orange. And also, Jonas Otto is definitely starting in that final no matter what. But David Cifuentes, this could be concerning. A dislocated shoulder. He's out for 2 to 3 months. So we'll send him to the specialist. Should definitely be able to afford that now off back and making that final. But that's not too good. Also, Brandon De Beer, I can see a pulled groin. He's probably going to miss that game as well. So going to be quite weak in terms of left wing options for that next game. And it also means one of Shaun Hall or Marquez will have to start in goal, which is going to be interesting. We'll just call up here Marquez from our B team, because he's going to be needed for this final flyman over from Christchurch, where he has been playing. But there's Marquez. He is registered, thankfully, so he'll come in for Cifuentes and probably does look a little bit better than Shaun Hall as well. He might be the guy that actually starts that final in the Club World Cup tomorrow. And also, we'll quickly update the finances. These should be very nice now. Indeed, they are up to £2 million in the bank. So maybe that's going to help us sign some nice players going in that final Champions League campaign here at Kashmir Tech. And surely now we've got an increase to our club reputation. Otherwise, don't know what's going on with this game. It took a win in the semi-final, but eventually we've gone up to 2.5-star reputation. But that will do it for today's episode. We've got past Man City, and we've got a sneaky chance now of picking up a Club World Cup title here with a club we weren't even supposed to be managing in the safe thank you the bug that got us away from AFC Auckland. But if you enjoyed this one, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up, on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well, and we'll come back tomorrow and play the Club World Cup final against RB Leipzig. So until then, thank you very much for watching, keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.